News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. Ukraine's president warning about the planned summit between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Zelensky says any peace deal excluding Kyiv will lead to, quote, dead solutions. Zelensky also says Ukraine's territorial integrity is enshrined in the Constitution and is non-negotiable. The Trump-Putin meeting is scheduled for Friday in Alaska. President Trump says Russia and Ukraine will both have to give up territory for a deal. Yesterday was President Trump's deadline to hit Moscow hard if the war in Ukraine didn't come to a peaceful end. It obviously didn't, but the summit is planned, and Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut calls Putin's willingness for the Alaska summit a delaying tactic and says President Trump is being played.
Clearly, Putin is stringing along Trump and playing America for a fool.
Elsewhere, leaders of Australia and New Zealand are urging Israel to reconsider its plan to take control of Gaza City. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's security cabinet has approved an operation. It aims to, quote, defeat Hamas by taking control of the city. That could displace 1 million Palestinians living there. In Atlanta, DeKalb County interim police chief says a shooting suspect is dead, and an officer responding to the active shooter outside the CDC headquarters next to Emory University has died. County CEO Lorraine Cochran Johnson says the officer leaves behind a large family.
It's a very dark day in DeKalb County.
No CDC employees or visitors were harmed. Sources say Netflix is exploring a deal to stream Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby. That's after ESPN walked away, and Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman says the streaming giant could really score if it manages to do this.
Netflix picking up the rights to broadcast Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby would be a coup for the streaming giant, as they'd be adding to their portfolio of live sports. This is happening because ESPN has decided to get out of their deal with Major League Baseball, which was originally 7 years. They're getting out 3 years early, which they were paying $550 million a year for.
Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman reporting. Gains for U.S. stocks yesterday. Big gains for Apple this week. Best week for the stock since 2020 as Apple boosted investment commitment that could help it avoid some tariffs. With most major tech earnings behind us, Mark Mahaney, head of internet research at Evercore ISI, says you just can't ignore the potential for artificial intelligence.
What we're seeing in terms of reduced costs and improved processes and improved products and solutions and offerings, it's really, we're going through a major super cycle here when it comes to Gen AI.
And Mahaney there on the Bloomberg Business Week podcast, which you can download wherever you get your podcasts. Gold futures closing at a new record high, though off the new intraday high. The Trump administration suggesting yesterday afternoon it would issue a new policy clarifying that imports of gold bars shouldn't face tariffs. Earlier, a U.S. government agency formally ruled gold bars would be subject to duties that cause chaos in the bullion market. More problems for Columbia University, according to the Columbia University report to state officials. A recent breach of Columbia's computer systems may have compromised personal information of as many as 870,000 people. It's not clear. More from Bloomberg's Charlie Pellett.
According to drafts of letters from the university to potentially affected individuals, the hack included any personal information provided in connection with applications or was collected during student studies. That includes contact details, demographic information, academic history, financial aid-related information, and insurance and health-related data shared with the university. A Columbia official says the university's investigation is ongoing, and the school is still working to determine the number of individuals impacted. In New York, Charlie Pellett, Bloomberg Radio.
Thank you, Charlie. And that's News When You Want It with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. This is Bloomberg.